Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Elena Kagan is coming up for a vote before the Senate for the next Supreme Court Justice of the United States of America. We're going to be talking about this important issue and what you can do about it on Faith and Freedom. I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Sean Akers, dean of the Helms School of Government at Liberty University and director of cultural affairs for Liberty Counsel. We talked yesterday, Sean, about Elena Kagan. We want to talk a little bit about her again today. And we want to also encourage people to go to the Liberty Counsel website for more information. It's lc.org. You can click on all kinds of information on Elena Kagan, some of the things that she said in the past, some of the things she said during her confirmation hearings, and then also you can sign up for the Grassroots Action email so that you can have an active participation not only in this, but other issues as well. Elena Kagan, let's talk about some of the issues here. She's up for nomination to the United States Supreme Court. She's going to come up for a full vote by the Senate in August of this year. She's somebody who should not be on the Supreme Court, Sean. She believes that the Constitution is something that we got from Thurgood Marshall, not from the founders. In fact, she specifically has stated that we owe our current Constitution to Thurgood Marshall, a judicial activist, and not to the founding fathers. She clerked for Thurgood Marshall on the United States Supreme Court, and she idolizes him and believes that the Constitution that we have comes from him and not from the founding fathers. Now, that tells you that she doesn't really respect the original understanding of the Constitution.
It does, Matt, and it shows that I know a lot of our listeners, they listen to you for a long time, so they know what we talk about, what we mean when we say things like original intent and strict constructionists. They know those things, but this really brings it to a very colorful head that you can see here, that you've got a potential justice who doesn't ask the question, what is the Constitution, but rather, what do I want it to be? Yeah. And when you do that repeatedly, what you wind up with is the old question was, when we put Supreme Court justices on the bench, is, are they going to act fairly? Are they going to hold us true to the Constitution of the United States? The new question is, what kind of country are we going to wake up to in the aftermath of putting somebody on the bench that wants to take a paintbrush to the Constitution?
That's right. I mean, it's like a contract. If you and I enter into a contract, I sell you something, you buy something from me, say it's a house, we enter into a contract, you're going to pay me a certain amount of money over a period of time for my house, then we have entered into an agreement. Now, if you unilaterally decide, well, you're not going to pay me this month, or you're not going to pay me at all, you're going to pay me half what the house is worth, then we would never enter into agreements. Contracts and agreements between people, business relationships, they would all fall apart because you've got to be able to rely upon the negotiated words of the contract. The Constitution is a negotiated contract with the people, and we have contracted to set up a governmental system to work within certain parameters. If someone now comes in later and says, well, I don't really like what the contract says, I'm going to change it, that's what you thought about, you know, when you bought the house 10 years ago, but that was 10 years ago, it doesn't apply now. That's the Constitution at the founding. It doesn't matter now. We're a different evolving country. Then what happens? The same thing happens. Our country, our system of government, the rule of law simply disintegrates.
We have got the great honor and privilege of living in a country whose first Constitution, its Constitution has lasted for over 200 years. This is a distinction that is unique the world over, that we still operate under that founding document. By, whether you change it through the front door or through the back door, whether you pretend to be paying homage to the Constitution and change the meaning of the words, or you just rewrite the thing, it's a revolution when you do that. Yeah. This is not something that can be tolerated. And I'll tell you, one of the quotes that you can find on the Liberty Counsel webpage, if you go through some of the great material outlets there to see what Kagan has said in her own words. One of them that struck me as particularly telling is this. She was being questioned about the Second Amendment, and the first words out of her mouth were, "I know the Declaration of Independence is not the law of the land." Now, whether she's making a technical distinction there between the Declaration and the Constitution is, in my mind, beside the point. You can see the reverence, or irreverence in this case, that this person who wants to sit on the highest court of the land has for the birth document of the United States. That document, Matt, that we acknowledge that every right that we have, we are endowed with by our Creator.
Well, and on the Second Amendment, she was asked by Senator Grassley, do you believe that the Second Amendment right to bear arms is a fundamental right? Senator Grassley, she says, I think that's what the court held in McDonald. That's a case that the Supreme Court just came down and said that there's a right to bear arms under the Second Amendment. Grassley says, and you agree with it? She says, good precedent going forward. It can be reversed. So, that shows you that, well, that's what it says, but, you get on the court, I could have another vote, maybe one more change of the vote. It could be reversed, and I will do it. That's her idea, that she can just change it wherever. I mean, if it's in the Constitution, then it's in the Constitution. If we have the right, we have the right. She doesn't, elaborate on that. She goes on to say that she doesn't believe in natural law or natural rights. They were asked about the Declaration of Independence.